next paper will be by Janet Sebastian, the MA about British writing from fiction to fact. Just so that we have different voices.
I came in towards the end of the first presentation, but I was really glad to be here for the questions. The gentleman on this side of the room mentioned how important it is to have a grounding, historical grounding, in terms of teaching any kind of course, whether it be a BA or MA or anything about Black Studies. And I wanted to say that that is one of the things that has been, for me, so enlightening in doing this MA, in terms of one of our core subjects, which is called historicising the field. And in that we trace the Black presence, representational presences in Britain, an overview from the Roman Empire to the end of the British Empire, mass migration, and to the new millennium, from migratory to arrivalist to indigent perspectives. And very much when I was growing up, I didn't have this in school. I'm sure it's a story for many people. I went to school and I learned the English canon. I learned Shakespeare. I learned all the poets, Milton, all of that. That was my growing up experience, and always feeling outside, always the other, never central to the story, never part of what was being taught, along with other things, you know, that impact on that. Because when you're in the classroom and you're not part of the story, that leads maybe the children who see their presence in the story to always speak about you as not being part of it. You know, the stories of the words are being told, go back to your jungle, even though you were born here. You know, sort of, where do you really come from, even though I speak exactly the same as the child next to me. All those things that kind of compound and continue to make you to feel, where do I belong, where do I fit? And even though your parents are first generation, you don't completely fit there, because you go on holiday and you have a British accent, and you're asked constantly by your relatives, by your cousins, you know, sort of like, you know, sort of, you don't kind of really fit here, kind of think, where are you? And you're kind of always searching for a sense of belonging, a sense of where do you, and I think that is a big reason why, when I had the opportunity to take a position working in South Africa, I jumped at it, because I wanted to see where could I thought, let me search for a sense of where I might fit in, even if it's just through my skin colour, sort of thing. And also a place where I was a majority, where I could walk around and I was a majority, and until I opened my mouth, no one knew where I was from. When I came back, I was looking, I came back during the time when, sort of due to globalization, there was a big change in jobs, trying to find people struggling in workplaces. And so I applied for various jobs with my background in communications. And I was offered an interview for a job with the African Development Bank because of my experience on the African continent. And just before they were going to fly me to Tunisia for the interview, they said, oh, by the way, you do have your MA, don't you? And I didn't have my MA. So basically that was a door closed, and I started looking around, looking for opportunities for an MA, and I was looking again for something. I couldn't find anything which I felt passionate about, and where I felt that I fitted. You know, it's like, you know, the jigsaw puzzle, where you're sort of like trying to fit a triangle into a square. You're sort of trying to find something where you have a passion and where you see yourself, and where you can, and for me, because of humanity, it's so It was actually through a lady called Margaret Busby, who some of them might know, who sent me a text, just a text out of the blue, saying there's this world first happening at Goldsmiths, go to the open day. I've been going along to talks at different universities, Cambridge have their talks in London. I was going along and speaking to them about maybe even doing an MBA. But as soon as I went along and listened to Professor Animado and Dr. Osborne speak about this MA in Black British writing, I promise you it was a light went on. When they spoke about Mary Seacole, they spoke about Mary Prince, they spoke about the history, they spoke about, you know, sort of Black British experience, and just trying to combine everything into one MA. It really was enlightening. It was like, okay, all right, I want to do this now, how do I make it happen? And as I've said to you, we do the history, so we do historicizing the field. We look at, you know, things like Renaissance, restoration in terms of restoring the monarchy, restoring Black presence in the white canon, Enlightenment, values in the age of revolution. We do a lot of the historicizing, as well as looking at genre and aesthetics. We also look at Caribbean literature, and we look at literature from around the world. I did one of my papers on Butchie Machetta's Head Above Water, comparing it to Monica Ali's Brick Lane. I love the diversity. I love that it's not pigeonholed, that you don't have to do certain things. There's space for you to look at what you want to do and what you want to do with writing. I mean, you see some of the books that we have up there in terms of what we're looking at, some of the sort of secondary readings. And first you see with S.I. Martin, who everyone knows is a renowned historian, and looking at his work next to Emperor's Babe, Bernardine Evaristo, you know, and also, as well as reinscribing a Black presence, also, you know, excavating the Black female presence that was always there, but, you know, in terms of a patriarchal society, you know, the women were always even more subdued, more repressed, you know, and it's, I don't know, for me, I find that I'm so enlivened and so excited by this course that I'm always speaking to people about it, you know, and I'm sharing the history, I'm sharing what I learn with anyone. It can be somebody in the supermarket, it can be somebody walking down. Deirdre knows me, I carry the leaflets everywhere because, you know, if I see a young Black guy on a train, I did that recently, who just looked so down, I went over to him and said, you need to do this course, you need to know something. He was like, but you know what, he looked at the leaflet, and before I got off the train, he was reading it for a few stops. He was like, thank you so much. I don't know whether he'll do it, but just knowing that he fits in somewhere, I don't know if for some people in this room, if they can identify with that, when you don't feel you fit in, you don't know where you don't have a place of feeling a belonging or existing, a place that where you are. I mean, Miranda, I went to her talk about Black presence in Tudor England. Again, I spoke to her, I think I chewed her ear off afterwards. It's just knowing that you were always here, but for some reason never in the school, never in the curriculum. And when I hear that the curriculum is being, you know, the Black presence in the curriculum is just being, you know, sort of like taken out more and more. You know, Mary Seacole, Mary Prince, you know, it's kind of like, okay, we can have one or the other. How does that work? It just is absolutely horrifying to me. So, I mean, it's great to know that even though it might be due to fees, that the universities are allowing these courses to now be there, but the fact that we can have these even as modules. So some of the students that I'm sitting in class with, they're not doing the full degree in Black British writing, but they're taking modules from it. So they might do historicizing to have that history back, or they might do literature of the Caribbean, wherever, and knowing that you can have that choice, that variety, which was never there before. And for us, I mean, we are all women on the course. We are all women. I mean, I don't know where the men are, but we are all women. And it isn't a women's course. It is a course that covers everything. I promise you, the blocks are there in place. You know, sort of the historical blocks, the blocks in terms of telling us where, you know, everything along the line of where we are, where we need to go to. I'm actually finished, so you can actually finish, because I'm just, I mean, I'm not an academic, but I talk from what is personal to me, and I hope that resonates with you.